Adding integers. Okay, the first example we're going to do here is on a number line. If this is easy to you, okay, then you don't have to do the number line unless it says do a number line in the homework. Make sure you're reading the directions. Okay, but if it says just solve it, you don't have to. However, if you're having trouble, then I prefer you to use a number line because you will get it right every time. Okay? It's easier when you don't understand it, when you're first learning this, to use a number line. Okay? No one's going to make fun of you. Okay? I prefer you use a number line. You won't get them wrong. Okay? -1 plus -5. First thing I do is I put a dot at -1. Then I go 5, okay, to which direction? Do I go right or left? Left. I'm adding -5. It's the same thing as subtracting 5. Okay, but we like to add negative numbers instead of subtract because we can change the order around because of commutative property. Okay, so adding -5 is the same thing as subtracting 5. So let's go 5 to the left. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. My answer is -6. Because I've been doing it so long, this is how I do it. I see that they're both negative, so my answer has to be negative, and I add them. What is 1 plus 5?
6.
Did I get the same answer you did?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay.
Positive.
Okay. If you know that they're both negative, so your answer has to be negative, then you can add them, add the two numbers, and then make your answer negative. Now listen, in a couple days we're going to talk about rules for multiplication and division. Do not confuse those with addition and subtraction. They are not the same. It does not make sense to use multiplication rules for addition. Okay? Two negatives don't make a positive with addition. That's only with subtraction. Okay? So someone's going to do it. Do not confuse those rules. Alright, now for these we don't have a number line, but if you need one, you can draw one out. Anytime you're doing these problems, if you're getting these wrong, start drawing them out. Okay, -3 plus -6. So I start at -3 and I go 6 to the left. Adding a negative is going to the left. It's the same thing as subtracting. We're going to the left. -3 plus -6 is -9. -8 plus -2 is -10. Okay? Someone raise your hand, tell me the answer. Beagle. -11. Write this down. Now we're going to be adding opposites. One's positive, one's negative. 6 plus -3. So we start at 6. We go 3 to the left. When we're adding a negative number, we go left. Subtracting a number, we go left. As Brady said, the answer is 3. Write these down. 12 plus -6. So I start at 12, I go 6 to the left. That would leave me with 6. 5 plus -7, this is where the positive number, okay, is smaller than the number that's negative. Okay, 5 and 7. Okay, so what I do is I look, which one's bigger? 7 is bigger. So my answer has to be negative, and then I do 7 minus 5. What is 7 minus 5? 2. So 5 plus -7 is -2. Okay? Know which one's bigger. Okay, the negative number is bigger. So my answer has to be negative. 3 plus -2. It's 1. 12 plus -20. Brody. It is -8. What I would do is I know that 20 is bigger, so my answer has to be negative, and I would do 20 minus 12. What is 20 minus 12? 8. So what is 12 plus -20? -8. If you leave off a negative on your answer, it is wrong. Okay? If the answer has to be negative, your answer better be negative. You don't have to write this down, just pay attention. You're going to be given word problems like this. Okay, it says a blue whale was at a depth of 275 feet below the surface. After 10 minutes, he went up 194 feet. What is the current depth of the blue whale? So we have to write an addition equation and solve. Make sure you're reading the directions. The first thing is an addition equation. So what is his depth first? Negative 275. We treat the surface of the water as 0. Anything above is positive, anything below it is negative. He goes up 194 feet. So how do we write that? Add 194. This is my addition equation. This is my answer. Then it says solve. So what I do is I know my answer has to be negative, and I do 275 minus 194, which is 81. So my answer is negative 81. That is his position. We talked about distance can't be negative, but position can be. Okay, when you're talking about your depth or your altitude, that is a position, not a distance. So it can be negative. So his current depth is negative 81 feet, or 81 feet below the surface. Any questions? Write this down. All right. When we're doing this, okay, we make these negative, okay, so we can use commutative property. Commutative property says that we can change the order and not change the answer. So I can change the order and not change the answer. Okay. Now you can go word operations and go left to right. If that's easiest for you, that is fine. But for me, what I would do is I look up here and I see negative 6 and 6. Okay. Negative 6 and 6, when you add those, what do you get? 0. So they cancel each other out. What am I left with? Negative 15. But when you're doing addition, whether it's positive numbers and negative numbers, you can change the order and not change your answer. So there's 100 different ways of solving this. We could do negative 6 plus negative 15, which is negative 21. Negative 21 plus 6 is still negative 15. We could do negative 15 plus 6, which is negative 9. Negative 9 plus negative 6 is negative 15. Okay? It doesn't matter how you do it, but you have to show your work. 1, so if you get it wrong, I can help you fix it. 2, if you're showing your work, then you're probably not going to get it wrong. Okay? So make sure you're showing your work on every problem today. Okay? Do it just like I do it. Okay? Go ahead and solve this one. All right, here, okay, I would just go left to right because I don't. So I would go negative 4 plus 15, which is 11. Then I would add negative 19, which is negative 8. Is that what everybody got? Write this down. Go ahead and solve it. Put your pencils down when you're done. Again, I would go left to right just because it's easiest. Negative 10 plus 3 is negative 7. Negative 7 plus negative 7 is negative 14. Negative 14 plus 12 is negative 2.